Good evening and welcome to a evening special edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast. I know the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game is going on right now. Don't worry, you can get back to that in a minute after you hear us break down for the 900th time. Yes, Billy Napier has been fired by the University of Florida. I thought over the next couple of days, we're going to try to get as many great insiders as we can here on the Mark Moses Show. So, joining me right now here on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios is my good friend David Soderquist with HighTop Sports. He's been all over this story in the last 24 hours. David, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, minus all the sleep that I haven't gotten the past 2 days, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, going to Gainesville was a nice atmosphere, a little bit of a getaway there. Less humid there when I went, so that was cool. It was a more enjoyable experience in the stadium. It gets pretty hot there during the summer, but yeah, just being in the stadium, being around that atmosphere, you could tell the Florida Gator fans, they were up for the game, but kind of got a little bit sluggish at the end. The Fire Billy Napier chant started until the interception happened at the end, and then everybody was happy again. So
you talk about being there at the Swamp for many years, being around the program. Now you cover the team. Have you ever experienced that before at the Swamp, where in a win they're saying fire the coach like that?
Yeah, that is a first. It was weird because when Mississippi State had that last drive, people were already chanting "Fire Billy" because they were in field goal range, and I think there was like a minute left. So most people expected, Mississippi State to run the ball 3 times, position the field goal kicker, center it, kick the field goal. Instead, for some reason, they thought passing the football was a better option, and it gets intercepted by a defensive lineman, and we're sitting here with a victory. So it went from like Fire Billy chants to cheering to booing again once Billy Napier was running back through the tunnel. It was really weird in a way, but that was the first experience I've ever had to like just sit there and watch fans go from booing to cheering to booing again.
It must have been weird also leaving the stadium, because I've experienced this many times. It's that atmosphere, win or lose. You leave the Swamp, it's hard to get back to your car, trying to get out of town. Was that also weird? You're probably listening to the post-game show. What was that like, David?
Yeah, I was already getting phone calls of people saying, well, is he still going to get fired? Is he still going to get fired? Like, everybody wanted him gone after that game. And it is really weird. I mean, a lot of people were leaving the stadium just like, oh, well, we enjoyed the game. They weren't like super excited or anything. And they were just like heading to their cars. Usually after like a big win or a good win, people are happy. They're cheering or they're saying something, or maybe the opposing team wins and they're like talking smack to the Gator fans leaving the stadium, something like that. You didn't even really see anything. Like, I don't think Florida Gator fans cared that they won the game, or Mississippi State fans cared that they lost the game. It was so weird. Everybody was just like single file to their cars.
Let me ask you the $20+ million question then. Why did Billy Napier fail at the University of Florida?
Mainly because sometimes he just can't get out of his ways. Didn't want to hire an OC. Wanted to stick to play calling because he said that's what got him there. Ignored a lot of I guess kerfluffles there on special teams. That lasted for at least 4 years. The whole tenure he was there, they still couldn't get the right amount of people on the field. And you had inexcusable games where you would have a 2-touchdown lead and you could put a team away, but then you let them come back, and sometimes you'd still pull off the win, but sometimes you would lose. And a lot of his games, and look, Mark, I've watched a lot of head coaches come here and go, right? And they would preach that, okay, well, we don't pay attention to what goes on online. We have our team here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Billy Napier would say the same thing. He's like, we don't listen to the outside noise, yet they would have staff meetings about what people were saying on the internet. They would be blocking accounts and all sorts of stuff. And for a while, I mean, you thought right when Billy Napier got here, it was going to be an organized, functioning school, and he hired all these people. He had an army. He talked about the 8-phase process, and that suddenly just disappeared. There was no more 8-phase process. There was no more him going to these coaching camps, and it kind of just like everything changed a little bit, right when he got here. And look, he did a really good job recruiting, right? He brought in a ton of talent. I mean, and a lot of people gave him some credit when he first got here because Dan Mullen didn't leave him with a ton of talent. And they said, let Billy get his guys in here. I was one of those guys. I said, look, years 1 and 2, okay, cool. Need to see something in year 3. You better be going to the playoff year 4. And that You had that talent playoff in year 4, and you start the season losing to USF, and you're still seeing the same problems that he said was going to get fixed when he brought in Joe Houston to help with the special teams, and the special teams unit still looks bad. And it was just, you expected so much more for this offensive and defensive line. And then there's some games where the defensive and offensive line looked legit. But then there were some games where they were just giving up so many pressures. They weren't protecting the quarterback. They couldn't get to the quarterback on defense. And it was just so inconsistent. And I think that's what ultimately made Billy Napier not the head coach anymore, was just not being consistent, not sticking to your word, and not doing the things that you should have been doing that you said that was going to happen preseason. And then we get a completely opposite story. It goes to a fact of where it's like, I would like week 5 or week 6 Billy to be week 1 Billy. Why can't we be ready by week 1 and not week 6 into the middle of the season? So I think it just caught up to him, and the administration and Scott Strickland and some of the bigger 7-figure boosters got together and said, hey, man, we got to pull the plug on this. We gave him a chance last year, said he was going to hire an OC, never did. And look, it's the same thing. We're seeing the same results. So I think that's ultimately what Billy Napier did, is he said, you live by the sword or you die by the sword. And eventually he died by the sword.
Does it make you pull your hair out where they're in every game this year? South Florida, again, that should have been a win by 30.
What hair?
Okay. All right. We're clarifying this. They should have won that game against the Bulls by 30 points. I'm sorry. LSU game, 5 interceptions by Lagway. They're still in the game. Maybe that's more about LSU. Miami game, 13-7. They have the ball. They should have won that game. I know it's woulda, coulda, shoulda. Was that maddening to you? If there were just a couple tweaks, this team probably has 1 or 2 losses, and then they're a hunt for the playoff. Does that drive you crazy?
Yeah, as a Florida Gator fan, I mean, especially covering it, right? You're covering a head coach for 4 years, and you're wondering when he's going to turn that corner, and he never turned that corner. He had moments where you thought, okay, cool, the 3rd year, he goes 8-5. You're like, okay, maybe Lagway's legit. Maybe this is the guy that Billy Napier recruited that he needs on his team. You go into year 4, it's the same old stuff that you saw in years 1 and 2 with Graham Mertz, right? So what really just made me sick to my stomach is it felt like the players that were there at the University of Florida digressed more than they went forward with everything else. It's like you're supposed to be developing these guys, making them better, possibly having them go to the NFL, be high round draft picks. And we've seen kids transfer, like Chris McClellan saying, look, I transferred because I didn't feel like I was getting developed, right? You had a couple other kids transfer, like Princely and Trevor Etienne and those kids as well. And these are your big time players that are transferring to other programs. If that didn't set off something like a light in your head as a fan, I don't know what did. So a lot of the stuff that like you thought Billy Napier could be, right? We thought he was going to be the Nick Saban with an extra spin on what he wants to do, right? He was very organized, very detailed, or at least that's what he told us, right? If you go back to his opening presser, you're going to laugh because a lot of the stuff that he said didn't happen. But you thought everything that he said was going to happen would eventually happen once he got his guys, and it just didn't happen. And so, yeah, as a media guy covering it, I will say it was the most stressful season that I think, or at least coaching tenure that I've covered historically. I mean, a .489 win percentage from a coach in 4 years is not something fun to cover at all.
We're here with David Soderquist-HighTop Sports, talking about the firing of Billy Napier. I was checked out after the Texas game. That was the final straw, and that was a win. I told you that afterwards. It was a win. He never, and again, I like Billy Napier.
He gave them a chance to come back too.
Yeah, there were never adjustments in the game. He would get leads on people and then hold on for dear life that the other team wouldn't figure him out. And in that Texas game, Sarkisian, I told you this off the record, I'll say it to you right now, Florida ran into a dumber coach than Billy Napier that Saturday. That's literally what happened. And the Gators held on and won. And the A&M game, I mean, it just goes on and on. You know what's something that people keep forgetting about? Jaden Rashada. That's what I think about when it comes to Billy Napier. And Rashada, how many teams has he been on now since then? 5, 6? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think it was 4. You had Arizona State. It was Florida, Arizona State. Well, he didn't play for Florida, but like he had Arizona State. I think, Georgia. And then he eventually transferred to, God, I don't even know what that school is now off the top of my head. He's not doing good over there either.
No. And think he had Anthony Richardson, who became a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. Now, that could be up for interpretation, maybe stupidity from the Colts, but like I liked Anthony Richardson. Couldn't win with him, couldn't win with Graham Mertz, the transfer from Wisconsin, who showed flashes, and then he couldn't win with DJ Lagway. I mean, he couldn't win with anyone. My question for you, and this is the tough one, is he the worst coach ever at Florida over the last 100 years, if you think about it?
So what's funny is if you go to sportreference.com, they have records of everything, whether it's head coaches, players, you name it, they have it there. And I was wondering one day, I said, how bad really is Billy Napier? How bad of a coach has he been in history? You can go there and you can click where it ranks them, and you can click the rank and it'll list them in order by win percentage and all that. So I took out all the interims because one of them, the interims will be listed as like 1 year and they've only coached one game or two. So I took all those guys out. So it wound up to being like 24, 23 head coaches. He was ranked 20th of the head coaches that have been here at the University of Florida full time, that have had a full time job here. And just that's unacceptable. That is not even close to what Florida is all about. I remember people being excited for that year 3, 8-5 team. And I said, look, if he wins 8, you should give him another shot because he might get to a playoff next year. But I wasn't happy with 8. 8 wins would get you fired here at the University of Florida 10 years ago. And then I was thinking, like, where have we gone? And why are we like still hiring coaches? And it seems like we just keep getting worse and worse and worse every head coach we hire. And look, this is going to be your 5th head coach you've hired in 15 years. So Scott Strickland knows that he has to get this hire right, or else, a lot of ADs don't get a third chance to hire a coach. He got lucky. He got extended. He's got a retirement plan in 2030. So regardless of whether this next head coach fails, he's still going to retire. Like they may fire him before that if it's bad, but he's really got to hit on this one when he hires, because you're not going to get a 4th head coach as an athletic director.
You shouldn't get a 3rd head coach.
No.
All right, real quick before we get to moving forward. So Muschamp was fired with a winning record. Mm-hmm. McElwain was fired with a winning record. Mullen, was he fired or did he already check out a year before that? It's still confusing to me. All right, it really was. But Mullen had back-to-back 10-win seasons. Hell, should have won a national title in 2020 if he had a defense. I still, to this day, throwing in the shoe, my heart still has never recovered from that. Okay, it is not. It really hasn't.
Man. Hey, I was more tore up about the Will Greer one in 2015. That one really, that was hard to wake up to.
Dude, I was at that game against Tennessee, and they won off the 2 touchdowns with about 2 minutes to go. And I remember driving back thinking, okay, the Gators got a quarterback. We got a team. And then, then he gets popped. And then you're like, well, this is over. This is the first one where he had a losing record. You're just not used to that, because Steve Spurrier, Urban Meyer, you can go on and on and on. This is going to be, so I've gone through 4 coaches since 2013. This will be my 5th one. 5th coach, buddy. 5. Oh, man. All right. Yeah. So Billy Gonzalez, interim coach. I know you were covering the presser earlier today. Okay. Who's calling plays? What's going on exactly? I hope you can give us the latest.
Yeah, normally Ron Roberts is the DC. That does not change. Ron Roberts will still be calling defensive plays and all that. But really interesting scenario on the offense. So most people would think Russ Callaway, hey, he's going to call the plays, right? Well, he said Ryan O'Hara, the quarterback coach for Florida, is going to call the plays. He's going to be on the sideline. Well, Russ Callaway is still up in the booth. And then he said, we're going to spread the ball out, right? That's what Gator fans have been wanting all year. We got all these receivers. Let's spread the ball out. So at least in that presser, you got an interim coach, so you're not expecting much from the team as it is anyway, right? But when he said spread it out, everybody was like, ooh, we're going to start spreading it out. Okay. Is Ryan O'Hara going to call the plays? And like we've seen Russ Callaway. It wasn't really a great thing to watch. At times it was, but at the end of the day, like, it was the same kind of offense. You got kind of the same results. So now you're throwing in somebody different, quarterback coach, Ryan O'Hara, and you're going to spread the ball out. Gets a lot of Gator fans excited. So in 2 weeks, you're playing Georgia. I don't expect to win against Georgia. Like, I'm not. But I'm really curious to see how they spread out the ball and how the plays are called, because, Georgia's got to prepare for a Billy Napier offense, right? this offense is going to be different when they play them.
Yes.
So who knows what happens? And with Georgia, with their defense, how they've struggled this year, the offensive line that hasn't been playing so great this year, you really don't know what's going to happen in this game. Of course, I'm still going to pick Georgia just based on the talent. They still got Kirby Smart. They don't have that many injuries. Florida's riddled with injuries right now. So I would pick Georgia in that game. But I think as a Florida Gator fan, if you're watching this game in Jacksonville, you might be a little bit more intrigued to watch it than you were before, because anything can happen in college football.
You're absolutely right. If Napier was still coaching, they lose the game. And maybe that's
100%.
Again. Napier's a nice guy, but he's now the ex-coach. I don't feel sorry for him. He's going to get 20 plus million. He'll be a coordinator. Maybe he gets another. He'll be fine. I know he was upset Saturday night. I get it. But yeah, if they have something up their sleeve, throw the kitchen sink at Georgia. You got nothing to lose. And
right.
I know after Penn State lost, and then when they lose their coach, then they literally, I'm sorry, wait. I said that wrong. I apologize. It's been a long 24 hours for me, just like you. Okay. What I meant to say was when UCLA went with the interim coach and took on Penn State and won, every Gator fan saw that. Yep. Wait a minute. What is this? So again, sorry, I've been going on shows, my own TV, nonstop. I know you as well. You were on News 13 nonstop with this talk. So DJ Lagway today also said, I am a Florida Gator, man. What are your thoughts, David?
Yeah, that's very interesting. When the coaching rumors were happening last year, I talked to some people around Florida and all that, and I said, well, if we fire Napier, Lagway's probably gone, right? And somebody told me, he's like, nah, depending on who they hire, he's not leaving. Now, I don't know this year because everything changes year to year. I don't have any inside info on whether Lagway would stay or leave, but seeing what he said in the press conference and looking at like his demeanor in the press conference, he looked a little bit more happier. Like maybe there was some weight lifted off his shoulder. Maybe the offense is probably going to change. So that's probably why he's happy. But that was very, very interesting. And also Miles Graham said that as well. He goes, I'm not transferring of a Florida Gator, but you would expect that from a legacy kid, right? But it is reassuring to have some players reaffirm that like, hey, I'm not leaving anywhere. And you got to look at what DJ Lagway, and some of the sponsorships he's had over at Florida, the Gatorade sponsorship, all this sort of stuff. He's got to be making bank over here. Do you really think he would really want to just transfer and go somewhere else? And when he's got it comfy right here at Florida, he's making all sorts of money. I mean, I'm sure the kid wants to go to the NFL. That's the dream of every kid that enters college football, to get to the NFL. But man, if you're sitting comfortably making millions just off NIL, I mean, do you really care that much to go to the NFL? Because you've already made a ton of money. And I'm sure you still want to, because a lot of these kids dream about that. But, do you really want to go to another school and have to start all over on certain things and do all this when you're sitting cozy at Florida? You got your own house outside of campus. And I mean, they're giving you the world out there. Are you really going to transfer? Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Lane don't want him if he comes over here, if Lane Kiffin is the coach, considering that's the hot name right now. But,
I will be honest with you, David. Right now, the way Lagway's played this year, he has no chance of being an NFL quarterback. There has to be this like come to you-know-what moment where whoever this next coach is, all right, you have to understand you're getting all this NIL money, but you have not produced yet at the University of Florida. All right, let's say you upset Ole Miss. Yeah, you beat Texas, but he has not played well. If he played better, I know we're dumping on Napier, but if Lagway played at a better level and was not injury prone, maybe Napier is still the coach today. I'm sorry I have to say that to you, but this could be very interesting. All right, what are your thoughts on that then?
Yeah, there definitely is a different dynamic when you think about like what could have been with DJ Lagway, right? We know that the play caller that he has wasn't the best, but we saw what he did last year with just a small playbook, no experience. And he was healthy, right? We saw what he could do when he was healthy, and he was a little bit lighter back then. He was around 230-ish, 240-ish. He played lights out in most of the games that he played. Now, granted, he wasn't perfect. It's not like he was throwing 500 and 400 yards per game, but he was very explosive, and he got down the field, and that was something that was missing from that Florida offense. So you were thinking, okay, well, we go into next year, maybe he's a lot better. He gets more familiarity with his wide receivers and all that, and then all of a sudden you hear about the shoulder stuff. And he can't practice with any of his wide receivers. Didn't really get a fall camp. Didn't really get to do many things and get that much experience before the season. You heard Billy Napier say, okay, well, 4 games have passed. He's basically got his fall camp now, but he goes back out there. He still kind of looks the same. I mean, it's gotten to a fact now to where it's like, I hate saying the word injury prone because it sounds like I'm just being, you know what, like, oh, he's fragile or anything. That's not it. It's just the fact that's like, I think they rushed DJ Lagway out there too quick. I think he should have gotten what he needed to get done medically. Right now he's playing on like I guess a hurt calf right now, so he's having to really stay in the pocket. I saw him take off and run against Mississippi State, but down the stretch, of course, he's got a bye week to rest up. But down the stretch, that schedule, I mean, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State don't look the same now, but you know, it's going to be tough. Like the rest of the schedule is going to be tough. So, you know, maybe you pull out a win or two down the stretch, but just from what you've seen from DJ Lagway so far, yeah, not many NFL scouts are going to be like, oh my God, we're salivating, right?
Okay.
He's going to need another year. Maybe he gets what he needs to get done during the offseason. Maybe a change of a head coach, maybe a change of the offense makes him a better quarterback. But so far, you know, what you've seen from Lagway is what you gotten.
I know we keep hammering this, but I would have gotten the offensive coordinator. I would have gotten off my high horse if I'm Napier, brought in someone and merge your two offenses together. I don't know why this is so hard. You know, again, I say this all the time. It's not like he was working at Staples 9 to 5, got off the job, then went to the local park to be the coach. This is all you were doing all day. And then I would have told Gator Nation, look, Lagway is injured. He is hurt. He needs to have surgery. We're not going to play him to start the season. We're not. We're not. You're going to, and then you dangle that carrot. Hey, wait till we get Lagway back. Wait, you know what I mean? You could have done that. No, this is the problem. All right. Final question. I know you're a busy man. I know it's been a long 2 days for you. All right. Who's number one on your list? I want to hear you say it.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious, and it's been all over the internet. And it's on number one on my list too. It's Lane Kiffin. You've seen what he's done at Ole Miss. He's 50-19 right there. Last year, beat Georgia by 2 touchdowns. This year, he took Georgia to the ropes. Didn't win the game, but we all know that Ole Miss is Ole Miss. They're not going to raise as much money in NIL as other schools. You know, so he's competing with the talent that he has. And if you go and if you're like one of those big recruiting guys like I am, you know, you go to the talent profile in 247, it's in the 20s. So he's doing all this stuff and winning all these games with a backup quarterback and 20th ranked talent profiles. And he's been doing that his whole career. He's had 4 double-digit winning seasons over there at Ole Miss with hardly any talent. I think that's the number one guy on my list. And of course, people are going to bring up his past with Tennessee and USC and everything else. But you know, that was a long time ago. Lane is a changed man now. Like, and he's had experience as a head coach. If you asked me when we hired Billy Napier 4 years ago, if I would have won a Lane, I'd have been like, I don't know. I think Lane's proven himself, and he's proven himself in the SEC, and he's been very impressive. And I think he's learned a lot, and I think he's done a lot through his career. So that would be my number one pick. Number 2, the other obvious, Marcus Freeman. You saw him go to the playoff last year. He beat Georgia in the playoff. Granted, they were playing with their backup, but he still beat a team that was just as talented, or if not more talented than his team was. You get to the playoff, Ohio State. It's competitive, but Ohio State wins pretty convincingly towards the end and down the stretch. But this is a guy that's young, man. And you know you're going to get a lot of years out of him. He can relate to kids very well. And he's been there and he's been to the playoff, right? So he knows how to get there. Now, of course, we all know at Notre Dame, you know, they basically picked his staff for him over at Notre Dame, and he didn't have a conference title game either. And his schedule is a little bit easier. It's a little bit more lax, so he can win more games. But every game that he's lost has been competitive, right? What happens when he comes to another school and you give him the talent and give him the things that he needs? Can he elevate that? Can he hire his own staff? I think that's the biggest question you have with Marcus Freeman. And then you go down the list of maybe your Will Steins over at Oregon, the OC, and things like that. But I think the top 2 names is Lane Kiffin and Marcus Freeman now. But I've heard Will Stein's name brought around. If you heard Neil Blackman earlier in the season brought up Brent Key over at Georgia Tech. I don't think he would leave Georgia Tech. You have Alex Golish out there that's done a good job at South Florida as the head coach. I mean, he's had him as a tougher. I mean, the winning record is there, but like he's made USF a tougher and more competitive team. I mean, they beat us for crying out loud this year, but then you have just these other names that have just been thrown around, and I think they're lower on the list. But Mark, I mean, if you're a Florida fan, I've seen it all across social media. if you really want to win at a high level and you want to turn your team around in year one, me personally, my opinion, you give Lane Kiffin the table. You give him whatever he wants.
And I think he knows that. I think he has all the leverage in all of this. All of it. All of it. Just make sure this isn't like when Tennessee with Butch Jones, when the fans were, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where they're losing their minds, where they throw out a name and then people with the pitchfork show up. I think about, okay, so when they hired Dan Mullen, was it Dan Mullen? See, there's so many coaching hires now, I can't even keep up. Remember, Chip Kelly was the big name, and then Scott Frost was out there. I mean, hey, 4 years ago, Brian Kelly was the big name, and LSU opened the checkbook to get him. In hindsight, I think LSU made a mistake. I do. And they paid, $10 million a year. Luckily, I can't believe this is for real. Luckily, the Gators will land to pay Napier $20 million. And I know $20 million is a lot of money, but imagine if you're at Florida State right now with Mike Norvell's contract.
My God.
Oh, my God. I've been yelling this nonstop. The craziest day in college football was when Saban retired, and then Norvell used that. Like, oh, I'm going to go interview with Bama. And then his agent got him the mega deal at Florida State. Have they won a conference game since then? I swear to God, I don't know if they have.
It's been like a year and a half to 2 years. That there was a meme going around that said Norvell was, I think it was 42. From 42 years of age to 44, he hasn't won an ACC game yet.
And then, you know what's funny? He brought in an offensive coordinator, and it's Gus Malzahn. And that might look worse. They look worse this year. Now,
it looked like it was going to work in week one, but after that, it fell off a cliff.
And now I think Bama's going to win the SEC. All right. What can we check out with your coverage for the latest on the firing of Billy Napier?
Yeah, you can check us out at HighTop Sports on YouTube. We also have a website. Right now, we're not writing any articles because it's under maintenance. It should be out of maintenance probably about another week or so. So you can check out the website at hightopsport.com, all the merch and everything else there. And we should have shows just about every day during the season. I mean, right now it's so hot right now that you have to have a show every day talking about something, right? Yeah, usually during the football season, we are go, go, go. So we'll have a show tonight with Stephen Harris, former 06 National Championship winner, will be joining us. He's on every Monday. You have Shelton Walker giving you the latest news and all that too. And of course, best day of the week, as we call it on a High Top. Wednesday, I'll be on. We will have a guest on. I don't know who that guest is now, but check us out, man. There's going to be a lot of info and a lot of stuff just flying past us, especially now that Billy Napier's been fired and the coaching boards are hot right now.
Yeah, Billy Napier's available if you want to book him. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Florida State. Go ahead and get him.
Yeah, good stuff. My man, thanks for your help. Thanks for joining me here on the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. And I appreciate, again, everything. It's been crazy, and I hope I can get you on again.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Enjoy coming on, man.